You're listening to the great... What?
Oh, no, you go.
You're listening to the Great and Secret Knowledge, a speculative fiction podcast. We are so excited this week because it's the Interstellar Song Contest. Jessie, welcome back.
Thank you. How are you? You well?
I've been super well. Hell of a week.
Awesome.
Just my vacation started today. I'm just living the life.
I love a day off. Love a week off, when, especially one at home where you don't actually have to go anything. When you go away, you kind of come back and you need a holiday from your holiday.
No, this is a straight up chilling week.
Oh, it's the best. You'll get so much stuff watched. We'll have to do some good recommendations at the end.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I watched Deadlock. It was fantastic.
I'm so glad you loved it. It's so funny and so clever.
Yeah.
But also a good, good murder mystery. Keeps you guessing till the end. Absolutely beautiful show.
Plenty of baddies to guess, could it be them,
You get a beautiful snapshot of rural Tasmania, which if you ever get a chance to come to Australia, you have to go down to Tasmania because it's some of the most beautiful natural scenery I've ever seen in my life. Just stunning. Mountains.
Is it less deserty than the continent?
Not deserty at all. It's the tiny island on the bottom, for those who don't know. And it is its own, what's the word? Habitat. And it's got its own. My brain keeps offering up economy, but that's not it. It's absolute ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah, ecosystem.
It's mountains and beautiful, beautiful bushland and no desert at all. Very, very, very cold down there, because if you head straight south from Tasmania, you hit Antarctica and that's it. So it gets quite chilly.
I'm looking at other similarly sized islands. There's Ceylon.
Oh, yeah.
Sicily. Crete.
These are all beautiful places as well.
Yeah. Cool.
And they get the best oysters. Best oysters down there. Best wool. Their wool down there is incredible. Get beautiful Tasmanian wool. I got a bunch of knitted stuff last time I went down there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just stunning. And there's the Mona, which is the Museum of Old and New Art, which is one of the coolest museums you could ever go to. It's got all sorts of weirdness. It's really leans into... You might have heard of the Women Only exhibition that got controversially sued because men couldn't go in. There's the ladies' lounge, and so they installed a toilet because the only place you could make exclusively gender women only was a toilet. So they put a toilet in their art piece so that it could be a ladies' bathroom.
That's brilliant.
there's a wall of vaginas, not in the same exhibition. That's a separate one. It's around the corner, but it's all these like plaster casts of different vaginas. It's amazing.
Mm.
Definitely worth checking out Mona if you do. If you do come down.
Oh, no.
It's all built underground, so you go down this lift and you're like, you got no phone reception down there, and you're just underneath everything.
Wow. Is that in Hobart?
Yes, just out of Hobart. So it was built to house this famous Sidney Nolan painting called, I think it's called The Snake. Um, it was so big that no museum had the space to display it. So they actually built, this guy won the lottery or something. He built the space to house this whole space to house this one Sidney Nolan piece. And then just kind of added all this cool weird stuff to make it a good time.
Really cool. Well, we are celebrating art and pop culture today.
We sure are.
Season 2, episode 6 of Doctor WhoDis, the Interstellar Song Contest. What a good time.
It was fantastic. I thought we were going in for just a fun old romp before I watched this episode. Which,
little did you know we would be facing the largest genocide in Doctor Who history. Maybe?
Yeah.
Unless you count like universe-ending events.
and the flux has got to be up there, right?
Yeah. Is it genocide if it also includes entire planets?
Yeah, I would
Or
think
is it
so.
just sort of housekeeping at that point?
I think, I mean, for
I'm
it to be
kidding.
genocide, it needs to be enacted as well. So I suppose Swarm as you were, that was the Flux event. This was more confronting than Flux, I thought.
Yeah, it seemed like an inevitable, impossible force in that one. Like Swarm and Azure just had a thing they wanted to do. It involved the death of everything. And even though occasionally they like blew their dust at someone, it just didn't feel as personal as this.
Maybe because they're weird looking aliens, whereas the Hellions were very, they looked human-y apart from the horns, which is the coolest costume. Like, I quite like a human-looking evil alien with just a little change.
Yeah.
That'll be fun cosplay.
For sure. Yeah, pretty easy.
I like an easy cosplay. I'm a fan of one that is, I've learned from going to cons, you want your cosplay to be at least somewhat comfortable. Because you're in it all day, you're on your feet all day. I'm always exhausted, no matter what type of convention it is. I'm always exhausted at the end. I get that same sore feet, same body exhaustion. So doing it with just a little like headband with little horns on it's a lot easier than some crazy cosplay. Do you cosplay much?
Oh no, never. I only put on costumes if someone I'm with wants me to.
Peer pressure.
Like, I can't even fix my sewing machine, so sewing stuff is tricky.
My favorite is I've got the jumpsuit from Portal.
But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake. And the science gets done and you make a neat gun for the people who are still alive.
It's actually, I mean, I didn't make that, I bought it. But it's a very comfortable cosplay and you can just cosplay as the main character from Portal.
I love the song from the end of Portal 2. I want to say it's Jonathan Colton. End song. What's it called? Yeah, Want You Gone. What do you think of of nerdy kind of charming songs.
I
Like about Star Trek or sci-fi or whatever.
I'm just trying to think of an example now.
Well, like there's a band that some Star Trek nerds like, the Beverly Crushers.
Won't you guide me, guide it? Won't you guide me, guide it? Guide it, won't you help me on my ship that's slipping up?
There's others. I feel like they're cute, but they're rarely like mind-blowing. I think Jonathan Colton has his moments.
I mean, there's the Jizz-wailers.
The Jizz-wailers.
That's the band in Star Wars and the Cantina.
Oh, yes, of course.
I'll never forget.
Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Oh, I'm not familiar
It's
with
pretty
that.
damn good. Oh, shit. It was a thing that Three Names McGee from The Giggle did.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris, yeah.
Three Names McGee from The Giggle.
Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
He's
It was
amazing.
written by someone notable. Let's see. Writer Joss Whedon. It was a
Oh.
Whedon joint. The whole family got together for that one.
Oh, Joss. Just another one on the list of people we thought were cool that have turned out to be problematic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you a Buffy
This is
fan?
pretty gnarly, like in terms of ethics and workplace behavior.
Mm-hmm. I am intrigued by the reboot that's coming. Joss-free reboot.
A reboot of which?
Buffy.
Buffy. Oh.
Didn't you know?
Oh.
The algorithm's been offering me up nothing but updates on that. Because Sarah Michelle Gellar's in.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I couldn't really get through the first season. I just hated Xander so much.
He's
Maybe I
such-
should just skip to a later season.
No, he's awful throughout all of it. He is. There are evil vampires who are less problematic as characters
Oh my god.
than Xander is. Like, he's just incel overload.
Talk about a Jizz-wailer.
Yeah. No. I have a theory on this with like there are so few unproblematic male characters in Buffy, it's ridiculous. Like the only one I would argue is probably like Oz, Seth Green's character. But even then he does something horrible at the end. And Giles is alright. I like Anthony Stewart Head. Also
he's
in
good.
Doctor Who. In School
Who was
Reunion.
in The Caretaker?
School Reunion.
School Reunion.
The one with Sarah Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Plus he's awful in Ted Lasso, which is one of my favourite shows.
Awful, but in a good way.
Oh, you love to hate him. And he plays a character
Yeah.
called Rupert in that as well, which is also Giles' first name in Buffy.
Oh.
He plays this great villain, and it's... Considering how nice and wholesome that show is, it needs a villain. So we've immediately gotten off topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Back on topic, the director doesn't have a lot of credits, Ben A. Williams.
Neither does the writer, Juno Dawson, so I researched them.
Oh, tell me what you found out.
They've pretty much only done Doctor Who-related spin-off-y stuff. So they've done they've done Torchwood. They've done a Torchwood spin-off that I didn't even know existed. So I'll be researching. I only found that out this morning. So I'll be researching that and finding it because I love my Torchwood.
They do audio dramas. Until this, they've only done audio dramas.
Oh, that would make sense.
Torchwood, Doctor Who Redacted, which I'm very excited to get into. Apparently Jodie Whittaker does the intro.
Ooh.
And then Slayer's A Buffyverse Story.
Yeah, there you go. See, we crossed over with our seemingly irrelevant chat already. So I was really impressed with the writing in this one. I to the point where I looked up the writer. It told the story really well. There was a section that I think was unnecessarily slow and probably a bit much padding, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But when you've got such big reveals, do we talk about the reveals or do we wait until we get there?
I mean, the people have seen it already, so feel free. Yeah. Go nuts. What do you got?
We got Susan and the Ronnie! Like, Russell, I swear, is trolling the fandom at this point.
Hell yeah.
At the end of last season, we had the big red herring that for Sutek, and even the dog was like, oh, it's Susan. Because every time on the internet, when there's a mystery character, the internet always, without fail, it's either Susan or the Ronnie. And this time we got both.
I mean, non-Doctor Who fans will never understand, but like for a Doctor Who fan, Susan starts out as a great character, then the writers sort of forget about her good points for the most part, so she just becomes an annoying teen. And then she goes away in this beautiful send-off, and the only way we ever interact with her after that is at conventions where she's apparently kind of a bummer. A lot of the times. Or a complainer. I don't know. I've only heard secondhand stuff. And audio dramas like, what are they called? Companion Chronicles. She may have done some full audios with a replacement First Doctor. I'm not sure.
I think she had. She did pop up in, was it the Five Doctors?
Yes, exactly. The Five Doctors, which was in 1980 something, 81, 82.
Yeah, somewhere around that. Like Tom Baker had just finished, because that's why they had to splice in just that image of him, and he didn't interact with any of the other doctors because he was sick of it at that point.
Yeah.
But we do, we've been wanting Susan. We did get a picture of Susan on Capaldi's desk in season 10 with Bill. He's got a picture of River and he's got a picture of Susan, his wife and his granddaughter, on his desk. I mean, if you don't know who River Song is at this point, why are you listening to this podcast? But like,
you fools! Go back to season 4 and get to know River Song. She rules.
She sure does.
It's season 4, right? Because Donna was there.
She turns up in, her first appearance is Silence in the Library, which is season 4.
Yeah. Susan was great. In this one, I forgot how the Sacha Dhawan master killed all the Time Lords, but apparently he used something called a death particle, which somehow kills anyone with Time Lord DNA throughout the galaxy.
Oh.
So that's why the Doctor is convinced no one else could be alive. The Master, I'm not sure how he got around it. There's a lot of speculating on the internet, but it's assumed that because he was unleashing the death particle, he was somehow able to protect himself from it. And the Doctor is not technically a Time Lord.
No.
So that's how they survived it.
I thought it had something to do with when the that cross regeneration thing, the forced regeneration that Sacha Dhawan Master puts on Jodie. So then you've got Sacha Dhawan running around in Jodie's clothes, and it is hot. Oh, I mean, I've talked many times about my love for Sacha Dhawan.
He's brilliant.
Speaking of amazing outfits,
This episode is full of them.
oh, and actual references to the Met Gala. And so the Sabine, who was the commentator with Rylan, that is almost a direct copy of Doja Cat's outfit from not this Met Gala just gone, but the one last year, which would have been right around the time they were making this episode.
Oh, that's fun. So the costume designer might have been inspired by that.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have to look up Doja Cat at the Met Gala last year, and it's almost identical.
I'm pulling up the scene where we first see her. Oh yeah, it's sort of a cap sleeve with gloves and a zipper jumpsuity thing with a high cowl, and then cat ears on top.
I don't know if you can see this on my phone.
Oh, and a choker. No,
I'll
it's
download
too
it and drop it
bright.
in the chat.
Oh hell yeah!
Because it's almost the exact same outfit. Like, they've just gone, that works, let's copy it. I've just dropped it in the Facebook chat.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, it's sort of a silky number.
She had a certain cheesiness to her. I understand they didn't have Rylan for the dress rehearsal, but I don't know why they needed that. That seemed weird to me. Maybe they could only get Rylan for like certain number of shots or whatever, because he's quite famous in the UK. So,
oh yeah.
Well, if you don't know Rylan, he basically was on X Factor, British X Factor. And then since then, they trot him out to host things. That's what he does. The actual Eurovision Song Contest, he always hosts the semi-finals in the UK. And Graham Norton hosts the final. Or the British telecast of it, anyway. Because each country's got their own hosts.
Okay.
So we've had our current ones for Australia are Tony Armstrong, who is an ex-AFL footballer turned sportscaster and now become a media darling because he's such a loose unit. Like, there's amazing footage of him when the Matildas, the Australian soccer team, won a semi-final. It's awesome. And Courtney Act, who you may have heard of if you've any exposure to drag, Australia's most famous drag queen. Courtney's incredible. She was on the first season of Australian Idol, auditioned in her boy self, and then came back the next day and auditioned as her drag self.
Wow.
And made it through to the top 10. Finished 7th. And then was later on American RuPaul's Drag Race. So that's who hosts it for us, which is very cool. So Eurovision is such a unique thing because every single country votes. Every single country has their own telecast, has their own. So it's kind of like the Queer Olympics, where you've got your own commentators commentating for each country at home.
How much time elapses between the people at their home country and the end episode or show or whatever?
So there's semi-finals, which is, I think, a week or two before. I think maybe even the 2 weekends before are 2 semi-finals. Oh. And then people vote in, used to call in to vote back in because this has been around since 1956. And yeah, people call in to vote, or now you go online, obviously, and you vote as a participating nation. And then you get points kind of allocated. Well, there's the people's vote and then there's the judges. So there's 2 things you can win as well, I think.
Interesting.
But it's just so silly. I guess there's some amazing performers that have come out of it, most famously ABBA. That's how ABBA got their start when they won with Waterloo, which the Doctor mentions in the episode. And Olivia Newton-John represented the UK, even though she's Australian that year. It's iconic. It's what you do. You sit down. My friends have a regular Eurovision party, but for us, it's quite the thing because you've got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch Eurovision live in Australia.
Holy shit. That is early.
Yeah. It's a lot. They telecast it again later, but, die-hard fans will get up and watch it and have a bit of a Eurovision party at 5 o'clock in the morning. Everyone rolls in their pajamas. The fact Australia is in it is just weird to me, but also, and this, I will mention this further later, Israel participates in the Eurovision Song Contest. They won one year. So it's part of the whole, it's not supposed to be political.
Have Palestine ever participated?
No.
God damn it. What are we doing here?
I feel like that's like the overall theme of this episode, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Palestinians have never had a delta wave machine. I don't know that they would ever use such a thing, but certainly there's some parallels to the desire to be heard and taken seriously, which I'm sure will come up as we discuss it.
And so there's a lot of controversy, particularly like this year. People were like, why is Israel participating and still being allowed to? And the argument is from the song contest people, well, it's not supposed to be political, it's supposed to be unifying. Because it came out of the end of World War II.
Unifying?
Yeah.
Were East Germany a part of it?
Well, it started in 1956. It was a kind of an expansion of an Italian song contest that they used to do. And then I have the wiki up. The San Remo Music Festival held in the Italian Riviera that it was based on, and it's been held annually since 1956, but it's meant to be we're all coming together for music. Fight some wars aside. I don't know when. So Germany has actually competed more times than any other country, having participated in all but one edition. So there you go.
Interesting. But that was probably West Germany, yeah?
I would assume so, but Russia participates and stuff.
Well, they're no longer a communist country. I wonder.
Wrong.
Yeah, I wonder if economics are part of it, or
Definitely.
if Eastern European countries participated in it when they were under the thumb.
So I'm just scanning to see if that actually defined, because if Germany participated more times than the others, because the rule used to be you had to perform in your native language. And I think the year ABBA won was one of the first years where they got rid of that rule.
Oh, okay.
So they were able to come out and do an English language song, which was, more. That's prior to that rule going. It used to be consistently England or Ireland winning.
Interesting. People just liked songs in English more?
Well, I think because more people could understand it, I'd imagine France had quite a bit of success through that time as well because of how widespread English and French are compared to, say, Swedish.
Well, here in this, they gave us a song untranslated by the TARDIS, I noticed. as if planet Helia is so hated that not even the TARDIS is allowed to translate.
Yeah, I wondered about that because why is so I wondered if it was, maybe a traditional Palestinian song or something.
God, that would be amazing. Yeah, I think it was a made-up language, but if it had been to the tune of something, that would be balls.
Yeah, they really trod a fine line here.
Yeah. God. I'm just imagining how I would have done it. Yeah, I probably would have done it in English and had it be about like the olive groves and, the streams and the land and the people and the unkillable spirit. Though they're trying.
They are. Just trying to look up to see if there is anything. There is any meaning to it. No, everyone's just obsessing with Dugga Doo.
Of course they are. I mean, if this was done in real life, if the Palestinians were allowed to participate and they sang their national song or what have you, they would have cut away and played a different recording. You know what I mean? They would have pretended that never happened. But because we're in a Doctor Who episode, we're able to experience it and know that everybody watches it.
True.
I'm assuming that they would cut it, but I shouldn't impugn the Eurovision Song Contest people.
Well, they very much, there's always a controversy every year. There's no rhyme or reason to what wins. One time a Russian metal band with full-on monster vibes. That one year. Not always the super poppy. You get the weird stuff. I think Dugga Doo's kind of based on a Dutch winner from the 70s.
Awesome. Well, let's get into this. About a minute and 50 in, Belinda and Doc are putting out the Vindicator, and they realize they're in a VIP box in a stadium, and it's the 803rd Interstellar Song Contest. And they both turn to the camera, basically, and they're like, we're staying.
As if you wouldn't.
I mean, how could you not just take a look, at least?
Welcome to the 803rd Interstellar Song Contest!
Oh, we're so staying.
I would absolutely. Even Mrs. Flood says, when they do the Vindicator and she's got a little Vindicator reader Sonic-y thing, which has Gallifreyan on it. Little hint that she's a Time Lord. The little buttons on that have Gallifreyan lettering on them.
Have we seen this device before?
Yes, she had the device, because you saw those 4 lights, and each time the Doctor used the Vindicator, one of the 4 lights lights up.
Oh.
So we have seen the device before. I don't know if we saw it every single time, but we definitely have seen it before. Maybe this is just the first time I noticed the Gallifreyan, especially on a second. It wasn't on my first watch before the big reveal. And she's eating grapes. But yeah, the point is, she says, she's like, oh, well done, Doctor. Now, no need to hurry. I love a good show.
I love a good show. Right?
So the camera zooms into the stadium. The cat lady introduces the co-host. It's the immortal Rylan. So we get some behind the scenes stuff in the gallery. Turns out there's 3 trillion people watching. They introduce the confetti cannon. So I guess that makes it Chekhov's confetti cannon.
100% it's Chekhov's confetti cannon. That's not a sentence I ever thought I'd say.
You were checking out Mrs. Flood in the stands. You were talking about her. And then I thought, would the Ronnie really sit in the stands? I feel like she'd have a fancy spot to stand in away from the rabble.
But she's been hiding herself in plain sight the whole time since Church on Ruby Road. Like, she was next door to Ruby's house. She had a TARDIS blue door to her house in that season.
I mean, she did babysitting at one point, or house sitting, or whatever. Like
cherry sitting, grandma sitting.
Cherry sitting. That's that. Yes, like she did some plebeian common bullshit. Like it's just hard to imagine her. Like she should have people for that, you know.
Well, she has the meep.
Oh, was she the boss this whole time?
Well, you don't know yet, but I think so. Because they both say, both her and the meep say the definite article, you might say, which is a Tom Baker reference. Not a doctor, I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
My chosen pronoun is the definite article. I am always the meep.
The meep and the Ronnie are Doctor Who fans. Maybe after getting her ass handed to her twice, the Ronnie just went away and started watching all of Doctor Who. And so she's kind of like a fan, even though she's taking advantage of him.
Are we suggesting one of the fans from Lux was the Ronnie in disguise as well? Wrote herself.
That's a funny idea. So apparently she'll sit in the stands. She'll mix it up with the hoi polloi. We find out about poppy honey, which is a kind of honey or a taste of honey flavor.
That I didn't quite understand. I guess they're. Is it that the honey that gets made from these particular poppies is really good? Is it that the poppies taste like honey?
I believe it's just a flavoring. I guess it could be grown and the bees get their honey making materials from the poppies.
Different bees.
But it's probably just the stuff they mix into the honey, you know.
But different bees have different, depending on what their natural environment is and the kind of flowers and pollen they have access to, that creates different tasting honey. Like I've been to many a farmer's market where you have a whole range, like at least 10 different honeys to try, and they're all very different. Like Manuka, which is probably the most famous, gets its taste because of the flowers that the bees get their pollen from, and that does vary the taste of honey.
Manuka comes from the language of the Māori people, the indigenous people of New Zealand. Now we pronounce Manuka with the emphasis on the ma.
Interesting. Well, maybe there are planets dedicated to growing poppy honey. I just assumed it was like replicated honey and they swirled some poppy juice into it or something.
Oh no, see, I went with the, these, because you get flower, the bees get the pollen from the flowers and they make that. That's how they make the honey.
Yeah.
So, but
now, if they did grind up the poppy and put in the honey, that would be an opiate. Which
yes,
could make everyone want it.
That's very true. I thought the choice of poppy and I don't know if this translates, but the choice of it being a poppy is a very interesting flower choice because of what poppies mean in the UK. So because of the end of World War One, and when I think the armistice was signed in a poppy field or something like that, but poppies now are what you wear in memory of British Army soldiers fallen in war, and the Anzacs do it too. Like there's the 11th, which was the Armistice Day of World War One, which is Remembrance Day here and in the UK, and and you wear a poppy for that. Like we see in Family of Blood when the Doctor and Martha turn up at the memorial ceremony. That's a Remembrance Day ceremony, and that's why Martha is pinning a poppy on the lapel of the Doctor, because that's what you wear to show in remembrance of fallen British soldiers.
Fascinating. I wonder if there's some poppy honey propaganda about corporate soldiers fighting on Helia or something. Because apparently they really fucked Helia over hardcore.
But they did it to prevent mass access to the flavor of honey. That was what I took it to be. They wiped out all the poppy fields and wiped out the planet so that they could have a monopoly on the flavor.
Yeah, Adam was saying that the Brits basically did that with tea. They didn't necessarily wipe out all the fields, but they stole the tea and grew it in India, where they had a whole industry of enslaved people, basically.
That makes sense. Very on brand for colonization.
Yeah.
Tea is something we inherently associate with British people. It's very much a cup of tea will make everything better. I love tea. And actually my favorite tea is from India, so.
What's your favorite?
Dilmah. That's my favorite brand of tea. It's strong and sweet. So you don't need to sweeten it too much.
Nice.
There is something comforting about a cup of tea, I think. We're really honouring Adam with Tea Chat.
Yes, indeed. I go with a jasmine from Vietnam. It's hold on.
The anticipation of waiting for what Jeff's going to turn back up with. Is it tea?
Forgive my pronunciation on this. It's Huang Vi Hao Hong, or something to that effect.
Cool. I love all different kinds of tea. I have a tea shelf, which has about, 10 different flavors. I've got a cranberry and pomegranate, got a strawberry, raspberry, and loganberry. And my favorite thing is they're all sugar-free, and these ones are caffeine, like the fruity teas are all caffeine-free, because can't have tea too late at night. It's not as strong as coffee, but it will get you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm not having one right now, because I had a real potent one earlier.
Probably for the best if you actually want to sleep.
So the doctor's telling Belinda about the ones he's been to. It turns out they're on a space station.
With a bubble for a roof.
Yeah. She tells her Eurovision story. She got to stay up late. And he's like, oh, you're starting to enjoy this.
She's been enjoying it for a while, I think. She's pretending not to.
Right.
And we get another mention of Belinda's parents. Like, they get a call out just about every episode.
Yeah.
But apparently we were supposed to meet them. There was a scene where she was hanging out with her parents in the robot revolution.
What?
And they cut it for time. So I wonder if all these references to Belinda's parents, do they mean something? Is there going to be something upcoming? Or is it just hangovers in the scripts from when we would have met them? Because Russell loves Russell loves a family. If we were supposed to have met them in the first episode, all these references might make a little bit more sense, and then we haven't met them. Or they're deliberately dropping this in. So
It seems so un-Russell-like to show the parents. I feel like he must have decided that holding them in reserve is the way to go.
Well, I saw on Unleashed it was actually it was a choice for time.
But it would totally throw off the whole thing. Unless they can be held back and it'll still work, I guess. But it seems odd to get rid of them, even if they're mentioned time and again.
Yeah, well, because they had to quickly, that's why they turned her into living in a house share situation.
Oh.
Because they couldn't, for whatever reason, they needed to cut the parents, but then they've referenced them every episode pretty much, and they usually reference them in relation to music.
The last scene of the season's got to be them out at karaoke, right? Like, what else could it be? Doing Dugga Doo or something?
Oh, that would be cool. I love Dugga Doo. Almost worthy of being my ringtone.
I think every time we say Dugga Doo, I'm going to have to drop in the chorus.
That's going to get annoying real quick because we've said it a lot.
It sure is. Oh, God. So the Vindicator is fully primed. Mrs. Flood says it's the final link. She's just talking out loud, even though the person next to her has no idea what she's talking about. And then the doctor wonders whose seats they're in. And we cut outside into the hall with Gary and Mike.
I love Gary and Mike.
They're so cute.
I love it. And it's absolutely a choice from Russell having a wholesome gay couple.
Mm-hmm. With actual names and deals.
Oh, they're very good. I mean, they were obviously... This is one of the weak points of the writing of this episode, I think, is the way that all the people who survived were awfully conveniently skilled. You had Len, who's Cora, for obvious reasons. You got Len, who's Cora's little manager, and he was on the tech squad, so he knows how to hack in. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the nurse, which comes up, which you need later when you can unfreeze everyone. And then you've got the hologram guy, Gary, which was the most obvious of them all, where it's doctor's like, I need someone who's got this very specific skill in holograms. That's me. I designed the hologram equipment. Is it too much? Was it too shoehorned in? Is it?
Well, given that Juno Dawson has written multiple Doctor Who stories to this point, and Buffy, we hope that she's doing it on purpose, like for effect, and not that she's just a hack who can't make a convincing story. I think it works because it's a campy delight. You know, it's not a like tightly plotted Hitchcockian masterpiece, you know?
Yeah, you didn't need the subtlety. I mean, we had Chekhov's confetti cannon, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I mean, he flies through space on a confetti cannon. So, yeah, I think it's great. It's very fairy tale logic in the sense of like the 7 immortal brothers. One of them just happens to have the power that the thing needs, you know? Now, in that case, it's everybody's together at the beginning. Here, they pick them up along the way. But what I believe is that the Doctor can use the skills of their colleagues wherever they meet them, and whatever they have to bring to the table, the Doctor will encompass into their plans. So he was like, well, I've got this hologram guy and this nurse, we'll figure it out. That's
Two
my theory.
nurses, though, because you've got Belinda and Mike.
Mm-hmm.
But you need a future nurse who understands the tech as well.
Uh-huh.
At the
Yeah,
end.
she'd look at a future med kit and be like, well, I'm not sure what any of this is.
Well, she did do that in the well.
Mm-hmm.
It's very... Anyway, I don't want to dwell on it too much because if I think about it too much, I'll be annoyed by it. I've watched this episode 4 times.
Hell yeah. I've only seen it 2 so far, but I'm excited to go back.
I watched it 3 times on the day it came out.
Wow. Oh man, it comes out at midnight for me, so I wasn't able to.
It comes out at 5 p.m. for me, so
Ideal.
well, no, because I was at the theatre last time, and when we recorded on this my Sunday morning.
Ah, yes.
I had not seen the Interstellar Song Contest yet because you had to keep your mouth zipped about the Susan and the Rani.
Oh God.
And the spoiler I'd seen online that I mentioned was just that a companion returns. And the best part for me was when I was watching this episode for the first time, I must have looked away when Susan pops up the first time when the Doctor's in space. So I didn't notice Susan till right at the end when he was torturing Kid.
This motherfucker was so worked up. He couldn't even listen to his ghostly granddaughter to stop doing violence. My God. Not only a companion, but in a sense, the companion, the first companion.
The original.
His family, blood of his blood.
Genuine.
As far as we know.
Well, I think it's always implied, I'm pretty confident that Susan actually is the Doctor's granddaughter.
Oh my God, do you know what I just thought of?
Mm-hmm.
Jenny, the Doctor's daughter, is dead. No one in the universe cares except me, but all of a sudden I got upset because she has Time Lord DNA.
Yeah.
Maybe she was in E-space or something, just off in another dimension when it happened.
Well, she could be Susan's mother.
Yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to find out who Susan's mother is.
There's varying, and also problem with bringing back Carol Ann Ford, which is very cool, and I've got no argument with doing it. But she's aged.
Uh-huh.
Where is the regeneration? Even River Song's regenerated.
I wouldn't be surprised if they recorded some lines of her, because she's at that age as a senior where they don't even they don't have the insurance to have them walk around or anything. They got to sit in a chair. But they could have her just kind of peacefully die in bed and then regenerate into somebody else. It'd be interesting if they, park her in a chair or something and she lulls her head and her tongue drops out. She
seems pretty sprightly.
Yeah, if they can, it would behoove them, I think, to have her die on camera so that when she does kick the bucket, they can just whip that up into a new doctor or whoever, or not doctor, a new Susan.
Surely.
Which brings us to fan casting. We got to cast the new Susan.
Ooh.
First question, will she be a teen?
The first image that popped into my head was Olivia Colman. I know she's already been in Doctor Who, in Prisoner Zero, and she's now an Oscar-winning, amazing actress. So they're unlikely to get her.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I just like that image. I think I like the idea of Olivia Colman as a time lady.
Yeah, she'd have to be someone on like Michelle Gomez's level, like maybe half the episodes in a season, like that level of
Yeah.
actor.
Oh, that's.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Do. It's just. I mean, I'm glad they brought back Carolyn Ford rather than just recasting it. And it's just on a complete unrelated side note. It's really refreshing to see a woman who's aged naturally on television.
Yeah. Yeah, probably because she's been out of the acting game, and so didn't feel the need to keep up with surgeries.
Too busy making fans sad at conventions by being rude, apparently. No,
I don't know about rude, but just sort of maybe slightly negative. Again, secondhand information from a podcaster. Take no notice.
She might have just been having a bad day. Did you watch the interview with her and Verada Setu
No.
on Unleashed? It's good. They talk about what it means to be a companion and how, like, Verada Setu was like, it wasn't until I was just sitting here talking to you that I even and we're recording this, that I realized how important it is to be a companion and what that means. So it's a good little interview.
Wow.
I think I've done a little bit more a little bit more not research, but I guess like deep diving on all the extra content for this episode than I have for any other episode.
Oh,
I watched
really?
it 3 times, and then I just need more.
God, yes. Oh, when I saw Susan, let me tell you, I just went, what? In my house alone. Housemate downstairs sleeping. I'm just like, oh, I just want to scream, but I can't.
Oh, I did scream. I absolutely, and it was just, my poor neighbors got.
And at the end, when the Ronnie came out, I was just like, what the fuck is happening? This is, I was like, what did I say to myself? I went, Russell, you mad bastard. You finally did it. Susan and the Ronnie. Internet breaks.
Absolutely, the internet breaks. Like, we've been waiting for so long, and people are just getting more and more divisive. I found myself in comment this time. Usually I try to avoid the type of ones where you get a lot of that. A little bit.
No.
I couldn't help myself. Oh, they're so negative. And so I did post a lot of, you don't have to watch it, right? Like, you can go back, if Tom Baker's your favourite, you can go back and watch those Tom Baker seasons anytime you like. And these people saying things like, it's the worst season ever. Everybody hates it.
It's the
blah, blah,
best
blah.
season in like at least 6 or 7 years. Like, no shade on Flux. I love Flux. Hell, I mean, yeah, I would say the Bill season with Capaldi is probably comparable.
Yeah, I would
but
say
there
the
were
same.
some stinkers in that season,
Yeah, Extremists got weird.
Yeah, all that monk shit,
Yeah, the monk
got
shit.
a little
That's
old.
what I mean. Extremists. The monk shit was weird.
I think if they stick the landing and the finale, and the finale is good, it's going to be the best season in many, many years.
Totally agree. It's been consistently good. Every episode, even the weaker ones, I would rank up there.
Yeah.
And Russell's so good at having it as a whole story, like dropping the little things in, so that then you can go back and rewatch it and get a whole new appreciation once you know how it plays out at the end. Like noticing all the bad wolves or the vote Saxons and all of that sort of stuff. He's gotten better at it this time around too. It's what are we going to get with this 2-part finale? It's going to be massive.
Massive. So Gary and Mike, they're having relationship troubles. Gary goes to confront the guard who says phase 1 activated and fucks off. So we're left to wonder, what is phase 1? Kid, the horny guy, comes into the gallery and he says, I'm Kid, the Hellion. That's my name and the place I'm from. The show continues. The hosts are like, well, we don't know what's going on. So let's greet the singers. We greet Cora St. Bouvier, who is their favorite. Up in the gallery, Kid sends off the guards and kisses another Hellion named Wynn, who is apparently Kid's love interest. They have a great kiss.
They do.
We need more great kisses in television.
Just not with the Doctor.
Sure,
Oh.
of course.
I mean, the one with Rogue was pretty good.
Yeah, you just sent me a link and I went back and watched that and I realized I don't know if I'd ever seen it. The Doctor's starting to regenerate and he kisses Rose. Like, wow.
That happens at the end of the Parting of the Ways, definitely, because she's got the time vortex in her head. And the way the Doctor can save her is by kissing her and taking it out. And then that's why he regenerates into David Tennant.
I just must never watch The Parting of the Ways. It's so weird.
That is
It feels
weird.
like
It's
something
the
you
final.
would remember.
It's the second part of a 2-parter as well. Like all of that stuff on, with the Daleks coming and the Delta Wave. That's where the Delta
Is that
Wave
in there?
first. Yes. So the thing the Doctor is creating when he sends Rose back to Earth in the Parting of the Ways, he's creating a Delta Wave, but he hasn't got time to refine it to only target Dalek DNA. So it's going to wipe out all of Earth as well as all the Daleks. But the Doctor needs to do that for the universe to survive. Otherwise, there's going to be Daleks in the universe. And everything he did with the moment and the end of the Time Lords will all be for nothing. And that's why it's so devastating for him. I just rewatched this the other day, so it was very fresh in my head when we noticed when Kid's like, oh, it's a Delta Wave, just as a throwaway remark, I'm instantly like, I know what a Delta Wave is. I know exactly what that is. That's the same thing the Doctor was going to use to wipe out the Daleks and the humans. And then when he sends Rose back to Earth and they bust open the TARDIS to get back to him. But the clip I sent, Jeff, everyone, is the Children in Need special. So there's actual canon story between the end of the Parting of the Ways and the Christmas Invasion, which was done for the UK Children in Need gala that they do. And it was aired between the seasons, and it's the first 5-10 minutes of the Tennant Doctor, because when we get into the Christmas Invasion,
He's just all floppy.
yeah, and he's already unconscious. Because it cuts in Parting the Ways after he says, I know, where was I? Barcelona. And that's when the credits kick in, but in the Children in Need special, you get a whole other chat with the Rose and Doctor before the Doctor then collapses. And the TARDIS comes flying in, bashing into buildings and lands at the Palace State.
Cool. Well, I need to rewatch that because I forgot all that stuff.
Rewatch the Parting of the Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. Just rewatch those at least as well.
Hell
Especially
yeah.
if you don't remember Eccleston Doctor and Rose kissing, because that happened.
All right. The director says that no one employs Hellions, but I did. And that was the first time I was like, that's gross. Like, number one, she's a terrorist. That's probably not going to work. But number two, it's just sort of performative, you know? It's just the kind of thing you keep in your thought bubble and you focus on them rather than your hard efforts, you know?
I think if we'd had like a fully able-bodied, well, she's not disabled, like different, I hate differently abled. I don't know what the word would be.
Non-disabled. Or politically correct way to say not disabled. It's probably just that.
Well, is she disabled? Does it like does a little like I would think a lot of little maybe would, little people, whatever the appropriate.
Yeah, I think most little people identify with the disability community.
There you go. That's how you say it.
Because of all the need for accessibility and like accommodations and,
Yeah.
We have a certain solidarity.
So I got the impression that the reason she would employ a hellion when other people wouldn't was because that's her lived experience and wanting to create space for people who there isn't space for.
Exactly.
And then by doing that, she literally gets a slap in the face. So that's how I interpreted her mentioning it. That no one employs hellions, but I did.
On a production level, it lets us know what's going on, but it also kind of, shows her sort of, I don't know, overwhelmed ally, like, wait a minute, you're doing a terrorism. I thought you liked me. Let's see. Wynn runs the dress rehearsal, so no one will know the difference. Back in the hall, the doctor realizes something is wrong, jumps out to access a panel. In the gallery, the kid forces the director's hand down on the scanner. I don't remember exactly why.
To gain access, it'll be some sort of like fingerprint. Got authority to let this run.
Gotcha. So on stage, Rylan introduces an act. I love you, but my heart says no is the song.
This is like Liz Lizzo from the planet Lizorius or whatever, the white lady with the red squares. Did they have a fantasy of casting actual Lizzo in that role?
That'd be amazing.
How good would that be? I would love to see Lizzo on Doctor Who.
Oh, Lizzo, bitch.
Yeah. Let's see. Kid turns the safety protocols off. He does something to the air bubble above the stadium. And then an alarm goes off. And I have a soundbite here. Belinda says, "Is that part of the show?" And this like creepy music as weird stuff just starts to happen.
The inflatable arena is an interesting, like the bubble arena. Because Perth, where I used to live in Western Australia, has an inflatable arena where the roof inflates. The Bearswood Dome. The roof actually is like inflatable. So when you're coming in and out of the doors, the like pressure. So you get almost blown out as you're leaving. Because all their doors have to be rotating doors, but when they're trying to get a mass crowd out.
Interesting.
So the air
the Houston
pressure.
Astrodome was like that. I don't know if it still is.
Oh, there you go.
That's cool.
Just
I think it's
reminded
the
me of that.
Astrodome. Unless it's the New Orleans Superdome, the one that was destroyed in Hurricane Katrina. Might have been that one.
Yeah, that's horrible.
It's
But
not
that's
important.
still
I'm not
around.
going to Google it. Yeah. Let's see. Wynn decides not to keep Cora's bubble open.
Well, no, she shut all of them. That's what saved Belinda. Like, most of them had been shut down. And then just as the thing that saves Belinda is she gets hit. Because
hits
she's
the
further
top of the
inside
roof,
the
yeah.
thing. She hits the top of the roof. Then Wynn closes the bubble to save Cora and therefore saves Belle.
Gotcha, yeah. So then Kid pops the bubble. Everyone gets sucked up, including Doc and the TARDIS. I took a screenshot of that moment where everyone's silently floating upward.
That's
So
so
fucked up.
dark.
Did you think they were all dead?
So the reason I especially thought they were all dead, you know the bit where the drink floats past?
Mm-hmm.
I must have looked away for a second and then I looked back. So I didn't see the cup. All I saw was floating red liquid. I'm like, is that blood? This
my
is
God,
dark,
somebody hit their
even for
head on the
Doctor
way
Who. Oh, I thought
shit.
for sure that was blood, and I was like, okay, they're all dead. They're all dead.
Now, if this had really happened, surely some of them would have died, but I think all of them lived by the end.
Yeah, I think all of them live. Like, some of them a little worse for wear, as we see Sabine, the cat lady, all bandaged up, and you notice people in the crowd in the
Yeah.
end scene all bandaged and stuff.
Oh, that's probably why a lady was clapping with one hand.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, but it's so the bodies floating in space conjured an image for me, especially once they started to freeze, of Titanic. So all of the bodies floating and being frozen over is like some of those end scenes in Titanic.
Gnarly.
It's so dark though, seeing all the bodies floating in space. That was really confronting, that shot.
Yes. Near, far, wherever you are.
To Eurovision, Celine Dion performed in Eurovision representing
What?
France, I think.
Not Canada?
Canada's not in Eurovision.
Oh, well, then it would have to be France, yeah.
Yeah. Australia is Canada isn't. I don't know how that works, but
Let's see. So the doc is waving around. Cora and Belinda, they look out super stunned. Ryland goes, not again, and then freezes. And Belinda is losing her shit.
she's seen the Doctor get sucked out into space. And the
Yeah.
TARDIS. Because we see the TARDIS go too.
The director confronts Kid and says, you're monsters.
I'm only doing the things you expect of me.
I've heard this about, like, bad kids sometimes will say because they were, like, assumed to be bad, they sort of lived up to the hype.
I think that definitely, there's usually more going on underneath, right? Usually a shitload of trauma.
Yeah. Well, and in this case, a direct political goal to achieve that they seem to think this will help.
Or another thing that's so dark about what happened to the Hellions, why Kid is named Kid. Because his mother was shot before she had a chance to tell anybody what his name was.
Yeah, that's intense. So we start phase 3. The director says you can save these people because of the Mavity shield. Kid's not into it. He tells the guards to bring in the Delta Wave. It's this groovy looking cube with red light. And he is so stoked. Belinda goes out into the hall and sees Cora and Orange Coat guy. I think we find out his name is Len.
His name is Len.
And he was in the tech squad, so he's got skills.
Conveniently.
Belinda wails about losing the doctor. And she's like, can't we get help? Call for help. And Cora says, we're in closed down. Due to gambling, no signals can get out.
I wish this was a thing. I am a big Survivor fan, as you know. And the Australian ones, they announced the winner on the island or wherever they are. And so Sportsbet, which is a gambling company here, Sportsbet actually, their odds, you can't find out. I've had entire seasons of Australian Survivor spoiled for me in week 3. because the odds get posted online, and there's one person who's clearly there's one person is 3-1, the next closest person is 12-1 or more, because the spoilers have gotten out, and so people are betting on this stuff even though the winner is known. Which
why would any
problematic
bets
itself.
happen at all after the person being known?
Well, they're not publicly known. The show hasn't aired yet, so it's recorded. And
so you're saying the bookie can have inside knowledge, but it doesn't get to the news? That seems strange.
They gamble on also such bad gambling culture down here, but you can absolutely bet on the winner of Survivor. And while the cast have all signed NDAs and the crew have all signed NDAs, we all know if you don't know who's the one who let it slip, you can't really find out who's broken their NDA. Yeah. And so, because the winners with the American Survivor, they do a live announcement, which they used to do with Australian Survivor, but COVID ruined that, and ever since then they just do the final tribal and do the final vote. And so the winner knows they've won, and everyone who's on the jury, everyone who was there filming, they all know who's won. So that's how it gets out. And because it hasn't aired yet, and technically because of the NDAs, people shouldn't know, but you know when one cast member's getting odds that are insane, and it ruined Heroes versus Villains for me. And ever since then, I've had to block sports bet on all my socials.
Oh, shit.
So I don't get an accidental someone posting the odds kind of spoiler. So this kind of blackout to me was really, really, really legitimate. And if it's going to take a while to broadcast across the universe, they don't want bookies being able to make sense.
So the one problem with that is if it was done in real life, you'd want to have enough medical supplies to treat any condition. You'd want medical staff on site. You'd want enough security guards and cops to prevent panic and
that's where
disorder.
The androids came in, right? They were the security.
Yeah, maybe they have medical robots as well. But it's a bad plan to put all your security eggs into robots. And here we get the Dugga Doo song.
Yay!
Belinda starts whining about never getting to go home. And Cora explains, then helps to settle her down by saying, "You're alive."
I'm stuck here on my own, and I'm no one. Hey, you're alive. You're alive.
It's something.
Yeah. See, if we had seen Mom and Dad, when she's like, my mom and dad will just sit there waiting forever, we'd feel it so much more.
Yeah.
Huh.
We just got a snapshot of Belinda's parents, even the way we got a snapshot of like Martha's family at the beginning of Smith and Jones.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get much of them, but we got her taking all those phone calls, trying to organise her brother's party, trying to organise her parents being there at different times. We, within a very short space of time, got a very clear picture.
You're up early. What's happening?
It's a nightmare, because Dad won't listen, and I'm telling you, Mum is going mental. Swear to God, Martha, this is epic.
Of exactly who Martha and her family are, which becomes really relevant later in the season. Similarly with Rose, we got that montage at the beginning of Rose.
Yeah.
We care about the companions more when we know their family.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, and because the Earth is blown up, the only way to show her parents now would be through flashback.
So if they'd had that in rather than like just have her still living at home, which would be an excellent, the fact that I said this about her having housemates, but it would have been even more commentary on how poorly nurses are paid.
To have her at home, yeah.
Mm.
It's also quite a common, I don't know about in the UK, but Asian families here in this area, like so many folks just are still at home even though they're 40. It's just kind of like expected unless you get married.
You stay at home and look after the parents.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't quite crack it. It must be to save money on rent or to be
It's
available
cost of living.
if they need help.
I find it impossible to consider because I was out of home at 16.
Yeah.
So, very different interpretation. So were all my friends.
Okay.
We're all a bunch of misfits that all kind of met because we were, living that weird, independent but still living independently but still a child like I did. 3 more years of school after I moved out of my mum's house.
For me, half of not living at home is that I would never want to bring people home and meet my mom. It never went well.
I know my mum was always lovely to all my friends, and then when they went home, that's when it got ugly.
Ugh, damn.
But anyway,
Sorry?
Oh, no, let's keep going.
Sure. Yeah. We'll talk moms next time. So Belinda says, my friend, God, he was so wonderful, and I never got to tell him.
I thought she did. I thought she'd made it clear how wonderful she thought the doctor was, but maybe not. Or just one of those things you say when someone dies as well. You're like, thinking of all the things you wish you'd been able to say to them.
Yeah. So Orange Jacket Guy's looking at the console. He says there's a code. It's rewriting everything. The director tries to convince Wynn to help all the people. She says there's a Mavity shield. Wynn says, we're doing this for Helia. Those people can't be saved. And we go up into space. The dock is still floating. The bubble reef forms below all the survivors. And Susan appears in the doctor's mind, which wakes him up. And he does some Time Lord shit, I guess, to stay alive and go get a confetti cannon.
Well, the doctor's been proven to be able to have a respiratory system that is stronger and more resilient and capable of existing in more extreme conditions than a human. But given what Mrs. Flood says at the end when she pops out, that her dual brainstem was frozen.
Maybe because she was the last person revived.
That's
she was
the
just
only
out
way I
there
could
too
think.
long.
That was my, only. Because the doctor really wasn't out there that long.
Yeah.
And the doctor it may have happened to the doctor if Susan hadn't woken him up with contact.
Could be, yeah. Could be. I mean, literally, if you're in the vacuum of space, the oxygen equalizing is what kills you. Okay. So, like, that's why they say in The Expanse to, like, breathe out before you get out there.
I remember that.
But, yeah, he, who knows if he had to do that or not. Maybe their bodies have more pressure on the inside or less. Whatever the good one is.
I mean, if he would have had, if anybody would have the presence of mind to take a little extra step to save himself, it'd be the doc.
Well, we find out he did because he programmed the thing right before floating up to have a triple Mavity bubble.
Well, he did know. It was obvious he knew something was up because Belinda whinged at him to say, how will you know what score to give it if you didn't listen properly?
So Gary looks out the window and he's like, he's not seriously going to use a confetti cannon to fly through space.
Yeah, he is.
He's not seriously going to use a confetti cannon to fly through space.
Doc fires it up. There's this kick-ass Murray Gold Doctor theme. It sounded familiar to a previous Doctor's theme, but I wasn't sure. I can't wait to find out.
Maybe Matt Smith.
Yeah, it was sort of bump, 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 that kind of vibe.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing somewhere someone mentioning that it was Matt Smith's theme.
Cool. So Gary and Mike open up the airlock door. Doc comes blasting in. He passes out. This is when Mike gets the medical kit, and he does kind of a doctor thing. He goes, "Oh, you're an amazing little creature," to the doctor.
It calls him a show-off for having 2 hearts.
Yes. So he jams a needle in Doc's chest. Doc pops up. He says, "Did I just fly through space with a confetti cannon?" Camp. And it was
amazing.
Very camp. Doctor says the people out there aren't dead. He triplicated the Mavity field, so they're in Mavitic preservation. They're cold but revivable. But then the Doctor freaks out about Belinda and the TARDIS.
Because they both think the other one's dead at this point.
Yeah. So Mike says to rescue them, you'd have to be some kind of insane genius. And that's when the Doctor goes, "Hello, I'm the Doctor."
That was too good. Like, I'm sure some people will complain about that being a bit on the nose, but I don't care. You need to have the Doctor
when you're
here.
the Doctor, you have to take these opportunities, you know?
Yeah, Madman in a Box. That whole, what is it, the Matt Smith one where he's like, some people just say I'm Madman in a Box. Can't I be both?
Next we see the kid. He says they'll use Cora's song to, quote, blow their minds. I don't know if we know yet what the Delta Wave will do exactly.
Well, for me, I knew because I remembered the Delta Wave in Parting of the Ways.
You knew it would kill people.
And, like, indeterminately. Absolutely, like, indiscriminately is probably what I meant then. But for him to, like, for something the Doctor was going to use as a weapon against the Daleks to be used by essentially a terrorist is very, I mean, it could be Russell running out of ideas, or it could be Russell, just being self-referential.
Well, they say history rhymes, so it makes sense to bite that rhyme every so often.
Oh, I've never heard that before. I really like that.
I can't remember who that quote is attributed to be. History rhymes. Oh, Mark Twain. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes.
Oh, I like that. That's clever.
Yeah, that was a pretty clever guy. So the Doc says it's Hellion script. That's he came across the same code. So he's like, "What's Hellia?" And the Mike and Gary are like, "Oh, supposedly they destroyed their own planet." The Doc does something to it, and it starts this wild sonic attack where the 3 of them are basically dying until he grabs his screwdriver and blasts the console. Did you notice there's this moment right after that where the Doc jumps up to his feet and there's just direct shot of his ass like filling up the frame?
Oh.
It's amazing.
When you've got Shooty Gut was ass, why not give it its own hero moment?
Mike and Gary hug.
Interesting that they initially seem. Well, when the Doctor blows the heads off the androids. You see this look go between Gary and Mike where they look genuinely afraid of the Doctor, because the Doctor doesn't even look; he just goes, and they when he's doing his. Programming with the code.
Interesting.
It's and then at the end they're like, "I'd do anything for you."
He really is becoming like a god to these people. Just because he's so capable or so dangerous.
Well, competence porn is a real thing, right?
Yeah.
Like in John Wick, like he's just so competent. That's attractive in and of itself. And I think that absolutely applies to the Doctor.
Oh, hell yes. I'm trying to think of the competent women I know that I've known, rather. My ex-wife was super competent. Casey, for the most part. There's some people that are competent most of the time, except when they collapse.
Well, they're the ones that when they collapse spectacularly, right?
Yeah. Does the Doctor ever collapse?
Oh, we've seen. I would argue that there's a collapse of the Doctor in this very episode. Certainly, a collapse of the Doctor as we understand him. When he snaps and he gets really angry, I have this in my notes: the anger of a Time Lord.
Yeah.
Waters of Mars, maybe.
It's like a god getting angry. It's just not. It's not something you want to be a part of.
No. Well, that's what Belinda said. She's like, if he's angry, the world's going to shake.
Yeah. Oh, good line. Doctor says that was a delta wave. If that signal is sent out, it will kill everyone watching. In Belinda's hall, Orange Jacket Len says a bunch of bigoted stuff about Hellions. Cora takes issue with this. We cut back to the dock. They've arrived at some kind of Eurovision museum.
That moment with Cora and Len is being all anti-Hellion.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it was as obvious, but certainly for me. And then I watched the episode with a friend of mine, and we both at that moment were like, "Oh, she's obviously a Hellion."
Oh.
It was very obvious to me in that moment when she said, "People often say that about species they don't understand." That was the moment I knew she was a Hellion for sure, and because with her hair, with that curly mullet situation. That was clearly a hairstyle designed to hide horns. And, yeah, I instantly, first time watching it, as soon as she said that line, I was like, oh, you're one of them.
So do we think that the Hellions are Dalek-level bad guys, or are they just a misunderstood people?
I don't think they're bad guys at all. I think they're people, hurt people.
But the only reason I ask is because Kid not only can get his hands on this galaxy-destroying tech, but can use it. Not every species has that level of power. So is he just lucky that he was able to do this?
Smart.
Or is this something that a lot of Hellions